Hello, banditos. Market
Buenos dias,
bandits.
banditos.
You've moved down there. You've already started speaking the lingo. The man himself is with me, Mr. CeeTee, the mustached bandit, ruler of all bandits, giver of wisdom. Welcome, dude. Welcome back on the show.
Thanks, man. Good to be back. I can't believe how long it's been. I think we're pushing up on probably 2 months since the last time we did this. So it's good to be back.
I think so. It definitely has been because you were how'd you or you I can't remember. So did you come on once after you moved, like really
I don't think
quickly?
I, I don't think I did at all. And I think that it was probably like a week before we packed our container was my last time on the show. So, and I'm sure anyone who was watching remembers the last time they saw me. I had boxes packed to the ceiling behind me, and it was
Hmm.
so now I have a proper office and I'm chilling. It's good to be back after such a long break.
It's good to have you back, man. I miss trading with you. Group's not the same. It's good to have you and your unique style. How have you? For someone, so you've basically the market's changed since you, and well, actually first because I didn't kick the intro because whatever, professionalism and all that. So what up, guys? I'm Gator. This is CeeTee. I decided to call the show. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out names, but Swamp Side. I don't know. But hey, Gator theme. I don't know. Cheers, banditos. Hope you had a good week in the
Let's go.
market. Cheers to all you guys. I'm Gator. This is CeeTee. We're going to talk about the week and whatever else comes to mind. Trading psychology, some other stuff right there. So, ting, here's to all you guys. And let's go. All right. That's yours. All right. So to the question or the point, I was thinking, man, like when you left, there was still some liquidity in the market. In this terms of we were in the middle of a down move, and there was a lot of like moves kind of happened quick, and it felt a little bit differently, if I'm remembering correctly, than than kind of how it's moving now. And so you took almost a month off of trading, 3 weeks to a month off of trading entirely while you were moving.
No, actually, okay. So, well, to your first point, I think that when I stopped was when we were still when there was still kind of some question as to whether like the market was going full bear or not. And so
Mm-hmm.
like we had some good like volatile moves of people panicking out and whatnot. And it's actually I think it was a full 7 weeks almost that I took off trading. So it was quite the extended break. And yeah, it most definitely went. I could tell things had changed quite a bit when I returned. So yeah, and when you take a long break from trading, I think coming back to it is a little tough because you have to be really takes time to get acclimated again. And I think a problem that a lot of traders have is when they come back, they have, big blowout days and whatnot because they, are ready to just go hard and get back to it. And they're not really like they're out of the flow and need to get back in the groove. And clearly the market's constantly evolving. So I had to confront all those things. And, I started out my first week super low tier and just been like gradually notching up every week. But yeah, it's been interesting getting acclimated to the changes that have happened.
Have you been able to like avoid the big blowouts because you seem to, and it's actually smart and in a way, it's like early in the day. I mean, if I live near the beach and doing other stuff, I mean, I live near a lake and I kind of do the same thing too. And I want to say what I've done, but you're coming back, you're into this. You seem to be like, all right, I guess I'm done. And, kind of early on, the market's not whatever, and just being able to walk away. You had that mindset before, but it probably is paying off now. Is that kind of, I don't know, been your experience that actually following those rules that we try to tell people to do? It's like, hey, start off slow. Don't let yourself blow out. I mean, I'm sure you're going to have red days, but like, has that actually been working for you?
Yeah, and really, what I've kind of found is that it's almost like an opportunity to it feels like starting over in some ways, like where I'm like able to, I'm starting with like a clean slate of like, it was, I mean, that's a really long time to be away from work.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I've taken a break from work that long, like in my life. And so it's like it feels like an opportunity to build new habits and like really toe the line as far as the smart things that I like to do and what works for me. So um, and it's really interesting. Like in California, we would wake up at like 5 a.m. and to be ready for the market to open at 6:30, and trading like that early in the morning, I think like my head just wasn't as clear as it is now. Like where I'm trading later in the day, like we wake up early still, like at 5 or 5:30, but we go to the beach and we go snorkeling for an hour, and like there's so much time to relax, and like my head's in a better space when the market opens. And I feel like I've done good stuff, like had a good day already, been to the beach, and so it's easy to once I make some money, be like, good, I'm good. I'm going to log off, lock it in. And especially being that I've been away for so long, it's I'm trying to like just have like profitable weeks, and do that business of have a good track record so that I can tier up every week and not feel any like hesitation tearing up. Because the first week I was definitely like micro tiered, trading like 2 contracts, and then the next week I was trading like 3 or 4 contracts, and this week I was trading 5 contracts. And
Mm-hmm.
that's super small size, but by the same token, like like I'm sort of treating this like a new trader, like I'm getting back to it. And like the first week was really solid, last week was flat, just a tiny bit green. This week was solid. Like I feel comfortable that I can tier up again next week, and in another couple of weeks I'll be back to full, trading full tiers. So I just didn't want to have red weeks or big red days, like that's going to mess with my psychology after such a long break.
Yeah, that's such a tough thing to come into, like coming back and having that. Because I don't know, if you started losing, it could just get to you so quickly. And we see so many people that do it, that like they change what they're doing and they tier or whatever, and then they come back and they start trading normal, and then they're just like, and blow up in a sense or something like that, and they just have those big days. And I don't know, you're always going to have them, but it's nice that you're actually like practicing what you preach in a way of doing the stuff that other people, you know, that we try to tell other people to do. Not that we give any type of advice or financial whatever another, but doing that kind of stuff actually works. You don't have to do it, but it does work in kind of getting you set back in the market. I did a show. I'm gonna have to look at what show it is, 'cause I think it was pretty decent, and I can't look because of the way my screen stuff is set up, but I could probably find it. And I did one on reward systems and training good habits. And let me try and find one. Let me try and find it really quick. I haven't done a lot of shows lately, so I might actually be able to find it. Let's jump
Should I
back.
should I blabber on while you're looking for that?
You can, if you have anything else to say on the matter.
Um, I was gonna talk briefly about the challenges of like of one of the challenges I found with like what I'm doing is where I started out like trading really small tiers the first week, and then every week when you tier up, you're by you're necessarily risking like potentially giving back your whole week like in one day kind of thing, or like having a big loss that's going to knock out the prior week. So that's a kind of a challenging thing, and I think that's something that new traders probably deal with, how as you tier up you can give back like a big portion of your gains from when you were tiered smaller. So that's an interesting like psychological challenge to confront, that you know it's you really do have to, I don't know, it's just I like my gains to be sort of linear like over time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like big blowout days or big blowout weeks. So it's like I said, man, it's just been an opportunity to really like reinforce good habits and prove to myself that I can follow the rules.
Yeah, I'll come back to that one video, and I'll post it in the link to this description if you guys want to know which one it is. I'll find it. But yeah, I thought what was interesting you said is when you said that you've already had a successful day. So it's like trading isn't like kind of the be all end all. It's like, okay, you get up in the morning, you're eating something, you're going snorkeling, you're like having all these accomplishments before you even get to trading. So the endorphins, the what's the word I'm looking for, the like adrenaline rush that you get from sitting down and trading, in a sense, you could be having a muted response and you have a better ability to control yourself, because the first thing you do in the day, you're not just sitting down and just like, wired or whatever it is and hitting it. It's like you've accomplished so much. Even snorkeling, going out doing this kind of a workout, walking on the beach, relaxing, getting yourself in this good mental place to sit down and trade. And not everybody has that luxury, but it's actually, I think, kind of a key component to being extremely successful, is to find a way to achieve for some people without moving to Puerto Rico, like that same level of like, I don't like the word zen, but zen around your trading, to where you have a reward system built into trading, to where it's not, you have to sit here and you're just like wired to do it. And it's just like, as soon as you hit it, you get this adrenaline spike of, it was like the trade we called in Tesla yesterday. Remember the pop at the open? It was like going sideways for like 4 or 5 minutes, and then it just
Oh yeah, I
looked.
was like, for sure, I was like, I should just like, I know it's only 5 minutes in, but I should really just like log off. And you know what? It would have paid to just log off,
Yep.
because I chopped around for like half an hour and like ended up like with a lower P&L than right then. So
Yep.
it just goes to show like, and that's one of those, that's kind of the hard thing about like being on the mic in a room with a group of people, is you don't want to like bail on everybody 5 minutes into the open, but sometimes that's the thing to do.
I.
And I mean, not everybody has the freedom, or is in a time zone where they can really have, do a lot of rewarding things before the market opens.
Yep.
And it's like you were saying, like if you wake up and trading is the very first thing you do, and you're having like a red day and you should walk away, it's really tough, because that's really like the first, like your entire day ahead of you, and you just started your day with like this negative experience, which is really kind of not awesome. And
Mm-hmm.
the way I used to deal with that when I was on like West Coast time was, I would just tell myself, you know what, just lock in your small red before it becomes big red. Go up to the mountains, ride your bike for a couple hours, enjoy nature, and appreciate the fact that you have a job where you can work for like a couple hours and then go out and work out and enjoy nature. And like, so kind of the reverse, the same psychology of like taking the good parts, appreciating the good parts of the job, and like using it to live a rewarding life. But it's even better when you get to do that before the market opens, I think.
Yeah, one of my failures in moving so far has been I haven't gotten to the early morning workout routine yet,
Mhm.
because it's like the kids, and I've been gone. I was gone last week. I'm back this week. I'm going to leave next week. And so, FYI guys, I won't be trading next week, so I won't be in the room at all. But I'll be away from the internet. But and then that's what I'm going to get back to after next week, is like, hey, you need to get up at 5 a.m. and you need to go work out, or 5:30. You need to do this in the morning. And I've got kids, so I've got to do stuff earlier. But it's like, I want to start doing the pre-morning thing, and I have to do pre-morning stuff because of the kids. But I want to do more to kind of prep myself for that. Okay, here we go. You got up at 5, you went for an hour workout, you're back at 6:30. You prep breakfast for your wife, yourself, the kids. All right, you have breakfast, you play with them for a little bit, maybe enjoy a cup of coffee when they're running around, go for a walk in the neighborhood, come back, get them distracted with something, come in here, sit down, prep for the market, make some trades. And what I've started doing, and I've tried and identified this through journaling. And the last time we have talked about journaling. JR did a show about journaling, and it's, I think, key to success, sustained success, because what I've noticed in this market, like that Tesla trade we got yesterday, that 2 and done, I made 4 points on that, and I had a multiple of contracts. I had more than 10 contracts on that, and I caught, I think, 3-4 points in that trade. And I was like, all right. And I was like, okay. And what I've noticed is when I get that, my next trades are not good. unless the market just runs. But the market's not just running. I then get that reward and that adrenaline hit, that dopamine hit of like, boom, here we go. And I like, it's like flashbacks, you know, the Vietnam, like chopper flashback meme. That's like me.
Yeah,
And
with
it's
the
just like,
Chihuahua.
and I'm like 2020, here we go, 30 and 30, 40 contracts. Let's hit Tesla again. And I'll instantly go there. I can't do that. So what I've started doing is I just size the crap down. And it's like if I hit something like that and you take something that early because you see it set up beautifully and you hit that, it's like from that point, I'm like cut my contract sub 10. It's like 5 contracts for the rest of the day and everything else is just cake. And then, you know, at least for the next 30 minutes or so. And it's not that I can't make more, but it's that my track record in journaling shows me I'm not making more. So it's like you catch that and then you're over trading and then you're doing this. So part of what I did this week and some of my journaling, it was like I do that, I'd stop, and then I have to change what I'm looking for. And I changed for something like what happened, what JR kind of called out today. And he did a show tonight. And if you guys are in the VTF, check it out. Freaking incredible show. You'll get more like from watching the show tonight than you did. Than you'll get from watching me and CeeTee. Not that you shouldn't watch and like and subscribe and all that stuff, because you definitely should like and subscribe and watch all that. We're, you know, fast growing, and after this next vacation, I'm going to be doing a lot of strategy stuff on here and other things. But to throw something up on this chart, like for instance, just looking at this, you know, JR was talking, and I said at the open what I was looking for. Because of where all the charts were opening up, I expected a pop at the open to test the 200 on most charts, and then a failure of the Qs to go back and test lows and hopefully go lower. So that's what I was hoping and looking for to happen. First part happened. Oh, I need to correct that now. And it went down, and then JR called a reversal here. He saved me actually from making a trade. I was going to short Meta. I didn't. I shorted Meta previously, but I was looking for names that were weak and all this. Tesla was strong. I ended up going long Tesla. But then later in the day, what I've noticed is if I wait around for something like this to happen, you can see if you were to zoom out and stuff like that, that there's a little bit of, and if you go to the hourly too, you'll see it, that this is kind of the top of a channel, and that there was some resistance in here. And JR called a short here. And I had just sat down. No, wait, it wasn't here. It was here. I can't even remember when it was. No, it wasn't. Sorry, I'm trying to remember when it was. It was in here. So I wasn't here for all this because I left. My wife is out of town. I'd help her with the kids, so I missed all this. I came back in here, and JR called a short. And you can see why. If you look left, you'll see these areas here. And this is the first retest of this area. So he called a short here back to the 200. I was looking at the same thing. He called it and confirmed, took it short, and then as soon as it went down here and kind of hammered, I went long the Qs. I sold in here and I was done. I got off, and then I went to the DMV to get a Georgia driver's license. But waiting for a different type of trade and going back to a normal tier size later, when I've kind of reset and realized that now I'm looking for a bigger story, if you want to put it that way, like in the stock market and what's happening and where are we at and where's the 200 and what are we doing, where's the 21, what's happening in the market, what setups am I looking for. Doing those things are what I did this week that kind of worked for me, and it's what I've been trying to do. It's like if I catch one of those big moves early, I'm not sizing up to get the next one. I'm sizing down, protecting what I do early, and then switching to like, okay, now what's a play I can sit? Okay, we're in a breakout, we're not, what's working, what's not, and I try to find something that's like a larger time frame move with less contracts. And sometimes those larger time frame moves pay better than the early Tesla plays, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and that's really smart because, especially coming from the background we came from, where when you start out, we cut our teeth trading in a market where, when you get a trade like that in the morning, you're probably going to keep slamming it for at least like a few more times and like triple, quadruple what you just made. So being able to dial it back after that and trade intelligently is undoing habits that we learned, in our formative years, if you will.
Our early years in the market.
Yeah.
Have have you? I don't know if you watched any of the stuff that I did with JR or any of the other general price action stuff, or I know that you're on the shows or listen to the shows with him at night. But is there a way that you've changed your trading towards the price action, like trying to buy the bottoms of candles when you get, like, for instance, um, let's jump our faces out of the way really quick, like 1 minute. Sorry, let me look at Tesla in the morning really quick, just to find a spot where this was Tesla. So I'm just trying to find a spot that may be, something like this. We're early in the morning, we're sitting here going sideways here. Have you found, like, a lot of times we would just get chopped up here? You try to buy every breakout and you lose like 10 times or whatever. I've tried to make a point of buying at the bottom of these ranges for my entries and stuff, and just waiting. If I miss the play, that's fine, but waiting for that perfect entry. Is there something you've been doing in the names you've been trading, or the way you've been doing, that's been working for you coming back into the game? Because it is easy to get chopped up.
Yeah, that's definitely, in the market that we're in, that seems to be the easiest way to like minimize your front run losses, and sometimes, even make 10, 20 cents on something that doesn't pan out. And watching the price action and the tape, you can really see that, like the black boxes and the high frequency traders, like trading robots and stuff. You can start to see what they're doing, how, like maybe the price will come down to the 8 or so. Yeah, if we're say we're trying to play like a Mark One
Mm-hmm.
strategy, like on a 1 minute chart. Sometimes you'll see the price whip down to the 8 and just come back up like a dollar without any, like, just immediately back up a dollar. And like that's clearly the black boxes and whatnot, like ripping it down and then and back up real quick. And so, like, when you see that start to happen, like, you can, I think that's the way to mitigate your risk on buying breakouts, because you're going to lose a lot less, like, if you're buying like at the bottom of the candle, or if you're buying off of a moving average, off of a quick like dip into it. And clearly you can get caught if you actually have a real drop, but I think that it's worth that risk, to minimize all those front run losses. And you can see that, like, the robots are trading are using that kind of strategy, where you get these wicks that, like, you couldn't possibly catch with manual trading, and it's just all like automated stuff happening there. And something I've been seeing in Tesla, like, this week, is sometimes you'll start to see, like, when it's just grinding green candle after green candle after green candle, sometimes you'll get like a 50%, like a 50% retracement of the prior candle. And I feel like, that was something I was doing where it was a decent risk versus reward, where I wasn't losing money taking that 50% retracement level, watching the tape. Obviously, not just going, oh, we're 50% here, let's
Mm-hmm.
buy here. But, like, if you can see the tape, looks like it's going to turn around. And sometimes then you'll catch the bigger candle or whatever, when you actually get the pop, like if you're getting a bunch of like smaller green candles. And yeah, so that's been working for me. I see we got a question in YouTube chat. So James Truitt is asking, CeeTee, can you give us your prep plan, or what you're looking for to take a trade, just insight or whatnot. Um, let's I'll address that by talking about, we were talking about that two and done yesterday. And can we can
I'm
you
at it
do
right now.
a screen share for me?
You mean
Like,
you want me to go to
yeah, can
yours?
you share my screen, and I'll just real quick like try to
Yeah.
explain this, because actually I got a message on Discord asking me about this. Okay, so we we were we were playing the two and done here yesterday. Let me just try to find this trade for you here. So, getting ready for the market to open, one of the things I do every morning before the market opens is I mark the daily highs and lows, and of the names we're trading. The prior day's high and prior day's low gets marked, if there's any like key pivots nearby, I will make sure that those are marked. And I will also mark the pre-market highs and lows because I find that those tend to get a reaction. Either like we will sometimes bounce off those or we'll rip through them. So it's important to be really attentive to the price action when we get to those levels. So if we're looking at, I think this is yesterday, and this
Yeah,
is the
that's right.
trade we're talking about here, this candle right here. So um, on the daily chart, where was our level? I think this was high of day in Tesla for the prior day,
Yep. It
right?
was sitting just at it or right
Oh wait,
above
you
it.
know what? I
Yeah.
think this is it right here. That was it, right?
Yeah.
That was it. Okay, so and let me revert. Okay, so that was the prior day's high right there. And so we were gapped up. We had this kind of indecisive candle, kind of like a 50%, more than a 50% retracement, but it whipped back up and we seem to be holding this level. And so we had two things going on. Here was our day high right here, which I'll mark and say, like, I don't know, that's usually like a gray or something. And here's the prior day's high, which I would usually have marked in a different color so I can always see where it is. So I've got these two levels right near each other. And I've got this candle break right here. So I've got three levels like that are like a buck and change apart from each other. And this is like from $1.09 to like $3.69 and then some. So this is, the trade Gator was talking about where he made whatever $3 or $4 a contract. I think I got like 350 per contract on this. Um, so I could see this wick down to here and it popped up, and I could see this wick here. And I figured it was a good risk versus reward to enter this trade here. And I knew that if we cleared this first candle here, there was a good chance we were gonna break day highs, and the momentum of that would probably push us through the prior day's high. So clearly price action like guided my trade here and watching the level two and the prints and everything. But that's where if I didn't have the prior day's high marked right here, I would just be trying to like buy this little minor candle break through day highs, which might have rejected. But I knew that this is like, these are evenly spaced and they're close enough together that like you're going to rip through all of them, and that was just an amazing trade. And so that's where it pays off to spend 30 minutes before the market opens marking your pre-market highs, lows, your prior days high and lows, and other relevant pivots. So you can, when you're on that small time frame, you can know what's happening on the bigger time frame. Because one of the things that I'm a big proponent of is keeping in mind, like viewing the market in a broader sense, like knowing what other traders are thinking. Because we can be more effective with our short time frame scalps if we're considering what our other market participants are doing, because they move the market too. So, you know, um, one last, actually, Gator, can you pop back to my screen for just 1 second here? There was one thing I forgot to show,
Yeah. I'll throw you out of
which
the.
is
I
like,
mean, we're still on
okay,
your
cool.
screen. I just had us up.
Oh, okay, cool. So let me clean up what's chart here. Okay, so this was that was like the prior day's high we were talking about right there, right? This is the morning that we're talking about taking this trade, right? And what did we have here? But like a really strong candle in Tesla, and then we had sort of like a digestive doji day right here, right? It's not so. This was a potential like what do we have here? We have a low, we have a higher low, we have yet another higher low. So like this looks like an igniting bar, maybe not the volume that we'd like to see, but then a pause. So this is like I'm sure a lot of like longer time frame traders were looking at the break of this candle here as a potential, entry long. So that's what I have in mind. I'm trying to consider what other market participants are thinking to influence and give me more insight into how to more intelligently trade on a smaller time frame. Hopefully that will give you a bit of a few tips to try there, James. Okay, we can go back to whatever navigator screen wise.
I'll just throw us up back up, and
Cool.
I'll jump over to mine too. And I do like they didn't ask me, but same thing. It's like I do move that out. Something really very similar. Um, let me move this over here. Like if you look at Tesla on that day, notice what else you see here. Look where your moving averages are at. And this is why in the morning, like if you guys are on the Discord, if you're on the Discord, the Zoom meeting that Andrew puts up, and I'm in there, and it's not my show, and anybody can do their stuff. You know, you're just watching the pre-market. What I do when I sit down, it's like, okay, looking at yesterday's close, it's like, all right, we opened up slightly above the 8, the 21, the 200, and then as soon as it goes, you've got the levels CT's talking about. Yesterday's, you could look at the hourly, you could look at the daily, definitely the daily. It's, you know, and it gives you that like big picture market idea. You can do some of the stuff and understand some of the levels that Geronimo talks about and that I've talked about on the shows with him and all that. And you see, okay, and the Kelly stuff from the show when he came on, and that I've talked about on previous shows with these fib levels and stuff like that. And you can do things like, all right, so what's happening today? All right, like CeeTee said, we're opening up a slight gap up just below yesterday's high. We're above the 21 in that. I want to see if we pull in and test the 21 or we just bust out. All right, a little bit of a candle here. Market overall was strong at this point in the day. All right, market's going up. We ripped down. We didn't even touch the 8 on the 2 minute. This is 1 minute. What did we do on the 2 minute? Where are we at? Oh, here we go. It looks like the same. Like, look at this on the 2 minute. So you pulled right down. This is the 2 minute chart. You pulled right down to that 21 and then boom. So you see this, you're on a 2 minute chart, and yeah, I mean, on the 1 minute, it's a little bit choppy. I use fib levels every day. And this is that indicator, like, okay, we pretty much tested the 21. We didn't even test it. We held up. All right, we hit the 2 minute 8. And yeah, I'm taking this trade. Like, I'm looking at Tesla. I'm looking at the stuff that CeeTee talked about and all that. And you see all of that at the same time when you're sitting in the pre-market trying to create, like, okay, what am I looking for today? What are the 2 to 3 names I like the most? Are they near levels that could trigger? Are they near these moving averages? Or are they going to gap in the middle? Like today, when you look at Tesla and where it was at the open, we were in between for a few minutes, the 21 and 200. And yeah, we bounced off we bounced off the 200, and then we went up and we failed, and we basically just sit around in this area. Like, if you're in between these levels, that's like the buzzsaw zone, as Kelly calls it. Like, you're just going to get cut up. But then once we break out and we get higher, now you have a good trade. But when you're sitting in between these levels, you don't trade them. So in the pre-market, you look at yesterday's. You don't care where the moving averages are at in the pre-market. You just look at yesterday's. Where are they at? All right, we're going to be opening up below or above. All right, now what's the market doing? Where are my key levels from yesterday? The highs, the lows. Are there pivots that I should see? What I mean by pivots, let's look at the triple Qs. I'm stealing something from Geronimo's show just a little bit here, but his last 2 shows. All right, we look at an hourly chart. What's an hourly chart? All right, so here's look at like, you could look at down in here. You could look in here. Where's the most like congestion of sideways candles? Where's the most volume? So what are some levels that I might want to mark or that I might want to be aware of on this hourly chart? Obviously we're up here, so we don't really care about what's down here. But you might when you're right here, because if you're just sitting around here and you're just down here on these days, and you're like, okay, where are we at? All right, we're near the top of this channel. Look at all this kind of congestion here. Look at this. And you look left on your chart and you start kind of putting together an idea of what you're looking for that day and what could happen. Then you can create an idea for yourself on what you want to trade. And sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. It was like today. We were below the 200. I thought we were going to test the 200, retest, and I was hoping we'd go lower. If we didn't, then we would go higher, and you could kind of, you'd be able to tell if you broke through the 200. It popped up, tested the 200, failed. And if you look left, Geronimo talked some about on his show about this, and I'm not going to get into that, but he talked about how he got this reversal wedge here and how he found this reversal wedge and called it out, and stuff like this worked. If you're looking at like Meta early, I liked Meta short because the Qs were going up and Meta was just sitting here near the 200. And then Meta finally broke down when the Qs broke down. So if you just would have sat and waited for the Qs to hit the 200 and failed, you could have shorted Meta. I caught some of the short, not all of it, because I was playing something else. But yeah, and I didn't like the price action today, really. I wanted a harder breakout. So to kind of add on to what CeeTee's saying, when you put all that in context of the market, you can yourself, without like me doing it or CT doing it, start to develop your own idea of the market, an idea of what you're looking for in the day and what could happen. And I've even started doing, I was going to do this on a different show, and sorry for rambling, but I was either going to start, I think I did it the other day, doing fib lines from the previous day. Like if you have a leg in the previous day, and a name, and then you open up. So here we go in Google. We're going to look at this, and you can, it's kind of like the fib lines don't really necessarily have a limit when it comes to time. So let me move out of the way. Let's look at Google. So
I feel like Mitchell has like done that with some success, right? Like
yep.
fibbing like the prior day.
Yeah, and I'm not even talking the day. I'm just talking about a leg in the previous day, especially if you haven't just had a bunch of them. But if you understand where you're at, like in the overall move, look at Google yesterday. So sometimes in the morning, I'll do this. This is contextual. Like there has to be other things happening. I'm just giving you guys an idea of something that I do in the morning because you asked the question and I need content and stuff to talk about. But so here we go. Like this is a leg yesterday, or possibly two legs in Google. Then we went down here. We retraced to down here at the 38% retracement, and we gapped up the next day. Well, I will do this, and I'll be like, okay, what's an early morning target? And so yesterday in the morning, someone said Google is strong, and I looked and I said, yeah, I think Google is going to at least 2340. Why did I say I thought we were going there? Well, honestly, the only reason is I had drew this fib line, and this was part of the move from the previous day. And I was like, okay, well, if we retrace, we went higher, we broke out, we're above we hit the 21, or the 2-minute 21. The 168 on this strong name is 340. So I said, I think we're going to get to 340. And I threw up a second fib line here. We hit the 127. I threw up a second one here, and I think it's like 344 or something. Yeah, it was like not much higher. It was like right around here. So I was like, yeah, well, I think we're probably going to get up to about 340. And that was kind of the target idea that I had, and how I kind of developed those targets. Is you look back, you try to take in data from previous days and how the names have been moving, and if you're in a bullish trend, a bearish trend, overall price action, you do something like this, and you're like, okay, well, if this bullish move continues off of this retracement, we obviously are still going stronger. I think that we can get to this level if the name continues strong, and that's how I put it in chat. I'm like, I think we're going to 340 in this name. Not that I made money on it, but you know, when y'all ask for levels, I do that, and I practice doing this at night. I'll sit around in here and I'll find levels, and I'll do stuff like this, and I'll be like, did this work? Did this not work? Can I do this during the day? And when I write or call these things out, did my level hit? And the more I do it, the more I get confidence in it, the more I'm going to trade it and try to make money in it. So just to ramble on and kind of keep that conversation about pre-morning prep going.
Yeah, that's all good stuff there. And speaking to that, we talked briefly about this offline, Gator, but something that I'm finding as our chart analysis becomes a little bit more in depth, I'm finding myself more inclined to make the circle of names that I trade smaller, so I can have a little bit more detailed analysis on those names, rather than having just surface level analysis on a like say 16 names. Maybe only look at like 4 to 6 names and spend that time that I would have spent doing just daily levels to start fibbing things and doing a little bit more trend lines and stuff like that. And I think that's something that I'm really gravitating towards, is that I feel like we don't really trade as many names as we used to. So I can start to take things off my watch list that I'm not trading and spend that time focusing on more in-depth analysis on the names we do end up trading. Trying to look here in chat here. So Cook, I think, was asking what a Mark 1 is, and that is just a bull flag breakout on a 1-minute chart.
I'll show you. I'll demonstrate it to him just so he can see it and understand it. And those watching, I'm going to do a strategy thing where I explain Mark 1s in a future video coming very soon. So there's rules really quick, and then CeeTee can answer Anya's. So in a sense, a Mark One is to as a way to play a breakout within a breakout. So it has to be above the first 2 minute. The name, generally speaking, should not be gap down. If it's gap down, it needs to get above yesterday's close. Is kind of the rule there. But in a sense here, we'll say that you have now started a bullish sequence. So you need a few things. One is a bullish or bearish sequence. We are now in a bullish sequence here in Tesla. Your Mark 1 is the first pullback where a candle closes below a previous 1 minute high. So we are here, we're in a bullish sequence. I need a candle to close above a 1 minute high and then break out. So your entry would be all these close higher, all these close higher. Does this one close 86, 86.47? So technically this candle is your first Mark 1 at the Know Your Limit 8, and technically your stop would be below that candle. But you take the next breakout and it goes higher is kind of the idea of it. It would kind of also be done here. The Mark 1, when we say a Mark 1, it would be like this candle. So you're in the middle of a bull run, it pulls back, you have a flat candle, you take the breakout, or you front run, meaning you would buy down here somewhere the trade, and you would get in as that candle breaks out, and depending on the day. But when we say Mark 1, what we basically mean is we're buying a candle that has closed lower than a previous candle high on the 1 minute. And we are buying that breakout. And we expect the next candle to go higher. So it's just a way to explain, like what CeeTee said, a bull frag breakout.
And if you really want to refine it beyond that, you can add the criteria I look for is, and most people look for, I think, who play that, is digestive volume on the 1 minute chart. And I don't typically like to play anything that retraces more than 50% of the initial move. So a couple other things to look for there. Okay, what do we got? Anya, the other things that I do in my prep work, clearly I always spend those 15 minutes with Geronimo listening to his analysis. I think that it's important that we always, get input from other traders so that we don't have tunnel vision, and so that we have a broader picture of the market, especially from more experienced traders like JR. And just trying to really, look at the big picture and not get stuck in the micro, like keep the macro in mind. So really looking at the daily charts where the moving averages are on the daily, and just trying to keep the big picture in mind, because it's so easy to get stuck on small time frames and forget about what's happening more broadly. And in a endlessly ripping bull market, it's easy to just live in the small time frames. But in a more challenging market, I think you really do need to keep other things in mind on a bigger picture.
Yeah, I agree. I can't tell you how much, like, listening to other people, but I'd say other people that you trade with, like I don't know. I may be in the rarity with this, but I don't pay a lot of attention to people outside of the small group that I trade with. Not because I don't think they have value or right or wrong, but there's only so much like stuff you can kind of take in, like before it becomes too much noise and you have too much different opinions. It's like I really respect what Geronimo does. I respect CeeTee, Rose, Mitchell, and we all kind of know what each other are looking for. And when we're all kind of trading similar and trading in the same vein, but slightly different and slightly different views on the same thing and noticing different things within a name, I like keeping the sphere of influence over me like fairly small.
Yeah, there's value to be found in trading with a group of people who have commonalities in what we're looking for, versus, I think that some people go down the rabbit hole of just watching so many educational videos on YouTube from various and sundry sources, and there oftentimes isn't like a real commonality. That there may be commonality, but like being able to discuss those things on a daily basis with other traders who have their unique perspectives puts you in a really strong position to grow and benefit from each other's trading styles. And so I think that's why it's really important to find a group of traders who trades, at least in some similar ways to surround yourself with. Like, I can't imagine trying to navigate the market solo. Just even with all the educational videos in the world, I don't think that's a plan for success.
No, because you really have to understand and trust what you see. At this level in Tesla, I didn't even realize. I mean, I realized it, but I think I had gotten off during this time frame. 763.55. I think this was like a previous JR level. Look how important that level is. Look at that. It's witchcraft, dude. That's witchcraft. I'm pretty sure I should be burned at the stake for having that line on my chart because it works so well. What was that top? Um, I don't remember what the original. Oh, I mean, it's this right here, this original reversal. Yeah, interesting. I'm gonna have to go back, but yeah, that's a line that worked. So it'll be interesting to see how the market reacts to that. I think Tesla's gonna be gapping up next week with Elon getting out of the whole Twitter or deal stuff. But I don't know. What do I know? That's true. That's why we stick together, Anya. That's why we're close. That's why I do this stuff. These videos, although I haven't done as many over the summer, and why I love trading with you guys and all that. I like helping, but then also it helps me. Like, it helps me trading with you guys and seeing that when you do, you have so much like I don't know, you have so much potential for growth and stuff when you're trading. Iron sharpens iron when you're trading with people that are, care and that are like you and that aren't just in it for whatever. I don't know. I think it's very beneficial.
Indeed.
Y'all got any questions before we? I might get back on later. Let's see. I gotta do some drawing on my charts and get packed for a trip. But do y'all have questions or anything? And while we're waiting for them, you got any?
Let me show off my new office, dude.
Yeah, let me see your office.
Let's here. I'll do a screen share with me. I'll get a picture up here. Let me see if I can find it. Oh wait, let me find the picture first before you screen share.
All right, never mind. I'll go over to mine.
Close, but not cigar.
Let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, it feels so good to be like in a proper space. Yeah, we're good.
All right.
Boosh.
Haha. Look at the wings on that thing.
So these are 75. This is a 75-inch 4K and a 75-inch 4K, and then these are like, what I don't know. This is probably like 42 and 49 or something. So there's where the magic happens.
Dude, the level of I don't even know. I can't even like that's pretty epic.
Yeah, it was a mission because like all the construction here is concrete, so I had to like mount everything to the concrete walls. It was bonkers.
I want to.
Okay, that was all.
I want to see like I want to see the power bill or whatever that goes into that, like for the lights
okay,
and
so,
the not power bill, but
so
wattage.
Here's the thing: is I've got a watt meter, right? And I actually, because clearly, like, my wife works in the same room with me, and she has her own system, right? So I had to make sure that I had to see if I had to like route power from like an adjacent room and drill a hole through the wall and all that. And my entire system is drawing like 600 watts, man. That's it. So the computer and the 4 monitors, 600 watts.
And the RAM, how's your RAM usage?
It's not that bad. I think I've got like 64 megs in this. I don't know. It's been a while since I built it, and my memory's foggy on it. But I mean, it's 4K monitors. So because I've got like a gaming like card or whatever, it handles it no sweat. Like my fans on my GPU never even spin up, man. They're idling continuously, so it doesn't tax the system at all.
Nice.
And yeah. Oh, funny story. So we talked about this, how we packed up all our belongings into like a shipping container, and then that was in transit for a month, like across the country and then across the ocean, right? My computer, the like Eddie warned me that like he used to work in shipping and logistics and whatnot. He warned me like, dude, like be prepared for the fact that like those containers are like treated really rough, and sometimes it looks like they've been like turned upside down and stuff. And I'm like, okay, cool. So we packed it super tight, and we spent so much time like packing everything like as diligently as possible. my when I unpacked my computer, um, the graphics card GPU
Mm-hmm.
had broken the screw that holds it to the case and broken like the clip that holds it to the motherboard,
Mm.
and the entire motherboard had popped the heads off 3 of 6 screws. Like it was nuts. I was like, I was not sure if the computer was going to work like that. And like my computer printer is dead. So if you're packing your stuff in a storage container, kids, be
Pack like
prepared.
all the styrofoam on every side of, or the bags and stuff on every side.
Well,
Like,
I don't think there's anything you can do, like, because clearly, like, the whole thing was wrapped in like padding in a cardboard box by itself. So it was like the entire
no, you have to pack
like
the inside
container.
of your computer.
Yeah, I think next time what I would do is I would take the graphics card out
Yeah.
so that so it's not on there. But yeah, I need to order like a new motherboard and rebuild the system so that, because right now I just don't trust it. But I mean, it's nuts, man. I built like a crazy shelf in there with like 3/4 inch plywood and 4x4s, and the plywood broke
Dang.
like from like I don't know what they were doing with that container, but yeah.
Yeah, dang. It's dude, you got to that's just crazy. I was gonna say the reason you have the big monitors and the stuff, when if you make more in a day than your wife, do you look over and be like, it's because I have more screen real estate? Like more
You're
monitors
so
equal more.
bad.
It's like maybe if you had all this.
Well, no, I will say that that there's clearly people who make more money than me with less real estate, but
No, no, it's the real
for
estate.
me, you definitely don't need this. And if you're comfortable having your monitors a lot closer to you, then I think that there's no necessity for this. It's just for me, it's comfortable to have everything at 4 feet away or thereabouts. But
Yeah.
it works for me. Did we
Yeah.
end up getting any new questions here?
Um, Anya said she feels uh, anxiety before you trade. Um, yeah, I mean, my advice is one, that's normal in a sense, but two, the more you get consistent and then create a pre-trading kind of routine. Routine is the best way to get out of to get out of to get rid of anxiety. So in order to kind of beat anxiety, one, the consistency that you're having now is going to help. And then two is creating your pre-trading routine, whether that's like what CeeTee was saying and I was saying earlier in the show, kind of having a routine like that and then flipping it, coming, and so having that every day. Then when you sit down, you're sitting down and you're going through your plan of the day of like, okay, where are we at? All right, we're here. Gator says this, he's an idiot. Geronimo says this, I'm going to go with him. And you see the different stuff and you kind of create your idea, and then all right, here we go, I'm going to execute my plan. So you go from like a anxiety sitting down first thing you do in the morning, where you're getting that adrenaline rush, because what is anxiety? It's kind of that dopamine adrenaline rush, like, okay, and creating that if you have the time, I don't know where you live, and you have all that other stuff, you can create that kind of pre-trading habits to help get rid of some of the anxiety, and then having a plan when you sit down for kind of, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I'm doing, and just over time as that works, and it's not going to happen right away, but over time with consistency, you'll begin to get rid of that anxiety. And for me, that's what I found is the most effective. And if it doesn't matter how much money you make, if you don't have a good mental routine and reward system for yourself and pre-thing and plan and trading plan and all that stuff, the anxiety is going to be there. But having a plan and executing the plan is going to take away the anxiety. Because that's really what anxiety is, right? It's not knowing what's going to happen and no idea and hey, I got to do this. But as you develop that and get rid of that through consistent planning, it will take it'll take care of itself.
Yeah, I'll add to that. Those are all great points, Gator. And the I think that um, it's always kind of there. Like there's always a little bit of anxiety. I think I know I'm coming up on. I'll be 3 years trading in November, I guess, and I still feel it from time to time. And if I pay attention to it, I find that my biggest anxiety tends to come after like a big red day. Clearly, big surprise, but also the biggest anxiety, or the most intense anxiety I would get would be on a day when I blew past my stop loss, and like on the following day. So I think that following your rules can help mitigate your anxiety. And like what Gator was saying, like how anxiety is like fear of not knowing, like not having control over outcomes and not knowing what's happening. And some, JR always says, um, I when I come into the to work every day, I know that the worst thing that can possibly happen is I'll hit my stop loss, and I know what that number is. So if you're always following your rules about your stop losses, and you're prior, you're not coming off of a big red day that was beyond your stop loss, following those rules can help manage your anxiety. So the consistency, the following of rules when you do have red days, and clearly, like over time, like you start to learn to manage it. But that's what I've got to add to that.
Yep. It's really good. I agree. All right, guys. Well, huh? Sorry, go
we
ahead.
wrap it. Is that it? I guess we're gonna wrap up here at an hour. Oh
Yeah.
my God, you're too kind, brother.
I told you I'd keep it under an hour. I know you got stuff to do, sleep to be had, so keep it right at an hour for the people.
We can definitely go longer in coming weeks. It's
Yeah.
if we work it out.
Oh, you're good. And
But
JR texted me and said if I want to go on after 10, if you guys want me to do another show tonight, I could come back on after 10 and do a recap of some stuff with him. I'm not sure yet. I've got stuff I've got to do, so I'll text him in a little bit.
intermission before part 2.
Yeah, exactly. Part 1, part 2. And it's like if you didn't get enough of listening to me talk, you can come back at 10:30.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone in chat for joining us. And Gator said it before. Make sure to like and subscribe. It doesn't take anything from you, and it helps him and his channel here. So great hanging out with you all in chat all week and trading with you. It's a great family that we have, and I'm very happy to be back trading with you, Gator, Rose, Mitchell, and everybody else in chat. Feels good to be back.
Love you guys. Thank you so much, CeeTee, for coming out. You're the bomb. I'm glad that we can do these again and that you're back in the group. Like it feels like finally CeeTee's back, like more kind of complete and stuff. So I'm,
Aww.
it's a completed team. So your wife is going to be over on this side, like. All right, guys. Y'all are the best community out there. I'll catch you guys. I won't be on next week. Maybe I'll do another one tonight, later tonight, depending on if I can get everything packed and get some food and all that stuff. Hey, bachelor life. It's like, what do you do, Gator, when you have bachelor and your wife and kids aren't in town? It's like I do more YouTube shows. So it's an exciting life I live. Like the stuff, guys. Catch you all later.
Peace out, y'all.